White Noise is a train wreck. I was super excited for this film, as Noah Baumbach is a great director. His adult dramas are often held up as an antidote to the Marvel-dominated cinema landscape. He's made classics like The Squid and the Whale, co-written 2 Wes Anderson movies, and he's made 2 great movies with Netflix so far, 2019's Marriage Story and 2017 Meyerowitz Stories. I turned on White Noise without reading any reviews. I was really excited, had my popcorn, was ready to go, and I turned it off after 5 minutes. Anyone who gets through this movie, props to you, because the first 15 minutes are absolutely atrocious. But I was still so curious. Noah Baumbach has made so many great movies, maybe it's just the first 15 minutes and I need to be patient. I went back and watched the whole thing, and let me tell you, the issue wasn't me needing to be patient. So, what went wrong? First off, the conversation and dialogue in this film are absolutely terrible. I get that it's supposed to be a heightened reality and that the lines are filled with irony, but the actual conversations are so disjointed and weird. It's really hard to follow along because it feels like it's being performed by a community theater where actors are just waiting for their cues. It doesn't feel like people are actually listening to each other at all. You don't know what's important and you can't tell what's supposed to be a joke, which is a shame because there's a lot of funny lines in the script. They just don't land because the film never focuses on them. For example, check out this scene.
I knew it. And the men are in hacking jackets? What is a hacking jacket?
They've grown comfortable with their money. They genuinely believe that they're entitled to it. They
I
glow
have
a
trouble
little.
imagining death at that income level.
Maybe there's no death as we know it, just documents changing hands.
Adam Driver's character has a really funny joke at the end of this scene, but it's washed out by the editing because you just hear the kids in the next room instead of this joke about death and wealth. This issue with dialogue is particularly strange because Noah usually gets dialogue much better than other writers. The Nerdwriter has a great video on how Noah captures realistic dialogue. White Noise is based on a book by Don Lelio from 1985, and that book is very dialogue heavy. And much of this script was actually just taken directly from the book. So maybe it's just an issue with the book's conversations not translating well to the actors, but somebody should have said something before this was made. 2. Timing and marketing.
They're calling it the airborne toxic event.
We won't come this way.
If you've seen the trailer, you know there's an airborne toxic event at the center of the movie. Sound familiar? Anything from the past couple years seem like an airborne toxic event? I think a lot of people seeing that trailer assume that the film is a satire about the pandemic. But it's not, at all. It's a film based on a book from 1985 that didn't know anything about the pandemic. The film is about the absurdity of how people ignore the ever-present presence of death by distracting themselves with pointless and silly things, which is the white noise in the title. Or mortality is ever present in everyday life, but we ignore it. And so the author is heightening the environment to a place where mortality is absurdly obvious, and yet the main character continues to ignore it. That's what the event is about. It's not about any sort of current situation with the pandemic. And honestly, this part that's kind of marketed as the center part of the movie in the trailer is not even really that essential to the plot. Yeah, it's interesting, but from viewing the trailer, I thought it was the main kind of event. 3rd, the target of satire. Satire is about punching up and taking on those in power. This movie feels like it's making fun of the sad lives of ordinary people who are too stupid to ponder their own deaths. A lot of this film is supposed to be targeting academia and consumer culture, which makes sense when it was coming from DeLillo, as he was just a normal guy at that time in the 1980s. But in 2022, it feels more like Noah Baumbach and crew are making fun of ordinary people who are a bit frumpy, care about things at their place of work, have to go to the grocery store, eat boring dinners, and have messy family lives. I always find it difficult when Hollywood actors are made to look frumpy when they're playing these middle-class characters. Like, these people are obviously still very good looking. Adam Driver apparently gained weight and he donned a receding hairline wig for the role. Note, Noah Baumbach did not ask Adam Driver to wear a receding hairline wig in Marriage Story, which is based on Noah's own life. The grocery store scenes, which mock consumerism, are especially ill-timed with the cost of living crisis, and food basics like eggs and milk up over 30%. Again, I understand why this might have been relevant in a book in the 80s, but it doesn't translate to today in film. Honestly, you could say that about most of the satire in the film. There's a lot about academia, like how universities have developed specialized knowledge that requires other specialized knowledge in order to create pseudo-professionalism. But more relevant issues like student loan crisis and even just the value of universities in general are not really talked about or discussed. Generally, I think it's important for directors to take risks and challenge themselves. And it's awesome that Netflix supported Noah taking a risk. However, I hope that the alleged $100 million budget and the performance of this film doesn't dissuade Netflix from taking risks on other projects. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'd love to know what you think in the comments, so let me know.